Hello, and you are more than welcome back to Little Miss Drop Stitch. Today I have a super fun and easy project for you. It's a 9 patch patchwork cushion, and this is very special to me because it's actually one of the first things that I made back on my mum's sewing machine many years ago. So yeah, it's really lovely. You can use your scraps, there's no fastenings at all. More great project, it just uses squares and rectangles. If you would like a template, there's one for free on the littlemissdropstitch.co.uk website. I'll put a link below. Just go to there, print it off, stick a couple of sheets together, and there you go. I personally like to use templates just because I can focus then on getting the pattern looking nice and straight. If you would like to measure straight onto the fabric, then the square, you'll need 9 of these. This is for the patch. Okay, they're 9.5 centimetre square, and that's including a centimetre seam allowance. And then the back, you'll need to cut 2 of these pieces. That's 25.5 centimetres across width and 21 centimetres height, okay, length, and that's 2 of those. Other bits and bobs you'll need, I've jazzed mine up with some pom-pom trimming. I'll show you how to put that in as well if you want to, but it's completely optional. And then other bits, pins, seam ripper, and the obvious sewing machine, and also a cushion pad. If you're doing exactly the same patches and size and seam allowance as me, then it's a 30 centimetre cushion pad, which is 12 inches. So it should fit nice and plump, but not kind of bursting out the seams. Once you've cut everything out, you'll want to arrange your pretty patches. Okay, sounds obvious, but make sure they're facing the right way. Okay, some will be non-directional, for example, like Daisy's one there and the pink one. Some will be directional, okay, like the doggies, or particularly if flowers are actually upside down. So yeah, just make sure they're all facing the way that you want to. So I just put them out, and then we can worry about right sides together later. So there we go. I very much hope I turn Hummingbird round in a moment. We are going to work in rows putting these patches together, okay? So ignore your second and third row, just the first row for now. So take your first patch, okay, and your second patch and place them right sides together. Okay, mine's actually got a bit of selvage on it, the white bit, but that's just because I know it's going to be inside the seam allowance, so literally just use your scraps, okay? So right sides together, and then on one side, you're going to sew. It won't matter terribly, but just if you care about the order, then make sure you're sewing it on the correct side. So when you open it out, you'll have one on the left and then one in the middle. Okay, so just whiz along there. Back stitch as well, that's very important. Do back tack so you've got strength on the seams as well, and there won't be kind of holes or bursting open with the tension of the cushion pad. Okay, and snip your threads. Next, same again, right sides together, grab the third piece of the first row. Okay, right sides together, so you're putting that third piece against the middle, okay, the second piece, so that's what I was on about before. Just make sure you're not accidentally stitching it to the blue one. Next, what I want you to do is repeat with row 2 and row 3, so just focus on rows, and then we will attach it as a whole piece in columns in a moment. It's something that's quite boring but is important. I would press the seams here, and that means that we know where everything's going, and we're going to reduce bulk when we do sew the rows together, okay, and as columns. So to do that, there's a couple of ways. You can either just press them all flat open, and then there's not too much to think about, or you can press them alternate ways. If you have a very light fabric and a dark next to each other, I'd press it towards the dark. Just make sure, whichever way you go, that the row below is the opposite way. So then we've not got two lots of bulk under the machine when we come to sew them together. Let's forget about row 3 for now, so I've just put that to one side. So just rows 1 and 2, and we're doing our trusty trick again of flipping it so it's right sides together. So you flip the second over onto the first row, and it's right sides together. When you pin a piece of yarn or whatever, you usually go from kind of the start to the end with your pinning, but with these, a great tip is to pin them at the seam joins, and that way it will look really neat. So patchwork, if they're not all aligned, it can look a bit off, and just not kind of your best effort. So I first go in and pin them at the joins. If you want to add more pins after that, great. And also put your pins on a 90-degree angle, so there's probably about a 99% chance that your pin will just go over it and it won't hit it or break or anything like that. And then they stay in place, so you don't have to remove them and nothing's going to budge. So pin it like that, and so with a 1 centimetre seam allowance again, you've already pressed your seams one way or the other, so we've not got all that bulk in one place. So sew row 1 to row 2 and back tack and cut, and then after that you can sew row 2 and row 3 together. So I'd put it out flat again and then flip over row 3 onto row 2. Just a quickie now, flip over your full front cushion piece with your patches and just press your seams that you've just done to make them all nice, again away from the bulk. So I just did mine all downwards. That's after this clip I went and pressed them. So yeah, I did it on mine downwards. Again, if you've got desperately light fabric next to dark, then press it towards the dark. Now it's time to take your back cushion pieces. Okay, we cut those out before and there's two. Just be mindful of the direction of the fabric if there is a direction. So for example, mine's got those little triangles on and I want them all to face downwards, so I'll be mindful of that on this next step. Okay, there's no fastenings or anything like that, linings, that's why this cushion's great for a beginner. We don't even have to leave a hole at the bottom to turn it inside out, okay? It's all going to do it itself. So I want a nice neat edge. I've added kind of 2 centimeters worth. So you could, if you wanted, overlock, zigzag, whatever, and just fold that up 2 centimeters and stitch, or you can do what I'm doing. So I'm folding this over a centimeter and ironing, then folding over again another centimeter and ironing that. So then it's nice, all encased, kind of bound, and then I'll back tack and sew around that. You can just put your press foot at the edge so you know it's going to be a nice neat line as well. So that's for one half of the cushion back, and you also want to repeat that on the other, again being mindful of the direction of fabric. So the top cushion piece you'll be folding over the bottom of it, and the bottom cushion piece you'll be folding over the top of it. Okay, that's just what I'm showing here, and then those will be two nice edges with no raw bits. The way this is put together now is these back pieces will slightly overlap, okay? So take your back pieces, remembering that the those edges we've just folded, okay, they're going to be together and the raw edges around the whole outside. Okay, so put your front piece at the side and then just move them pieces till they overlap, okay, to be the same size as your cushion front piece, and then pin them at the sides, okay. And now what we're going to do is something called basting. That just means kind of a temporary tacking stitch. Feel free to do it by hand, okay, but I'm going to do it on the machine and I'll just set it to kind of a stitch length of 4 to make it a bit longer and a temporary tack. And you just need to do that bit where they overlap. You don't need to do kind of the full seam length. Felting, now it's time to sew it all together. So we've got a full piece for the cushion back, okay? Put that with the right side of the fabric facing upwards. Then take the front of your cushion, your patchwork, okay, and place that with the right side facing downwards. Okay, so we're meeting right sides together just like we did earlier on. Okay, I'm going to add some jazzy pom-pom trim. Okay, and this is going to go all the way around the edge. I'm going to baste this in because I don't really want to wrestle with that and attaching my cushion together. Okay, but this is just to give you an idea of how it will look once we've sewn it together. Okay, so right sides together and the pom-poms will face inwards. Okay, and they'll be revealed at the end. So I'm just going to go ahead and whisk this on the sewing machine and tap them in. I'm going as close as I can to the seam edge. We've got a 1 centimetre seam allowance, so I'm going to go about half a centimetre to just my presser foot towards the edge. Great, speedy, speedy, that's all done. So I've attached the pom-poms and I did that to the cushion back, okay? So my mum and brother just decided to start moving a mirror whilst I was recording. That's who are Bill and Ben are in the background. Okay, so as we said before, right sides together, cushion front and back. I've just added pom-poms optional. Okay, then what I want you to do next is snip the corners. So we're not cutting the stitching, you're just snipping across, and I've kind of sped this up. I definitely shouldn't be using embroidery scissors, okay, but that's what I had to hand. So that just makes it easier to turn out the corners, especially with having those pom-poms in there so we can get a nice crisp point. So there we go. How fabulous does this cushion look? Dead easy, no fastenings, no remembering to leave a hole and turn inside out and then sew by hand. I'm really proud of this and I can't wait to see what you make as well. Do share with me on Instagram, Facebook and all the like. And if you like this and our other free tutorials and patterns, please do give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe and all that good stuff. Take care.